because I refuse to let my fighter get in the ring with someone that has loaded gloves.
Questioning the integrity of a rival fighter in a public setting is one of the biggest ways you can disrespect someone.
This is not something that I'm making up. I have proof, and I have it in my phone that I have proof.
But if they thought these types of accusations would faze a fighter as battle-tested as Naoya Inoue, they were sorely mistaken. This was no regular fighter. And though Fulton himself was on a path to greatness, Naoya was already proving himself to be a generational talent. And in there with Inoue, he was about to get exposed in the most dramatic way possible. Beaten to every punch, outworked in every exchange. Though Fulton was the champion and the bigger man, he was doomed to get bullied in there by the monster. This is fighting his art. Let's go. Inoue has walked a long road to establish himself as one of Japan's greatest ever fighters. His first matchup of major significance on U.S. soil came when he took on the future WBO bantamweight champion Jason Maloney in Las Vegas.
As round 7. Oh, the big right hand from Naoya Inoue, and Maloney is down and hurt.
Inoue was out there putting beatings on elite opponents, future champions, and he was barely breaking a sweat. Starching an icon like Nonito Donaire was a walk in the park for Inoue in their rematch. And Naoya did it inside 2 rounds.
It just goes down, because Inoue is going to work it, and they're not done.
Inoue's march for undisputed bantamweight champion status then saw him take on and dominate Paul Butler. Yet another easy win for the monster. But in order to truly solidify his greatness, he needed to aim higher, specifically at super bantamweight champion Stephen Fulton Jr. Fulton was as elite as it got within his division, and when he captured his first major title in a war with Angelo Lee, we all knew that he was a force to be reckoned with.
Your chin in, elbows in, and don't give him anything to hold.
He then went on to defend that WBO title and unify it by stealing Brandon Figueroa's WBC belt shortly after, and it was a gritty affair and performance that showcased Fulton's levels.
Leaving everything he's got on the corner, he's got Fulton. A jab. Fulton.
All in all, he was the man at 122 pounds, and that's what made the collision of Fulton and the rising champ Inoue a bout of major consequence for the sport, with some controversy pre-packed in.
Because I refuse to let my fighter get in the ring with someone that has loaded gloves. This is not something that I'm making up. I have proof, and I have it in my phone that I have proof, where they're wrapping the gloves with an excessive amount of tape all the way up their hair first, and then they add the gauze, and then they add the tape again.
And so, ahead of fight night, Inoue's hand wrap ceremony was watched intensely by Fulton's team as they made sure that nothing suspicious was going on. With the proof that Inoue's hand wraps were legal, no excuses remained, only the fight. With nowhere to run and nowhere to hide, Fulton would soon be made to eat his words. This was a bout of real pound-for-pound proportions. Both men occupied a spot in the top 10, and each was in the middle of staking their claim at legitimate greatness. There was an unmistakable tension in the air. Questions would be answered, and one of these men would emerge as a real contender to the pound-for-pound throne. The energy in the arena was reaching a fever pitch as these two warriors stared each other down for the final time before the punches started flying. The pair were never going to go all out in the very first round, and as expected, they used these opening minutes to gauge each other's timing and engage in a footwork battle. Inoue loves nothing more than piling the pressure on his opponents, but given that he was facing off against a bigger man, he did need to be wary of Fulton's power. Of the two, he was clearly the more confident and aggressive fighter, and the crowd were losing their minds each and every time he attempted to land. Fulton obviously knew he was up against it in this fight, but even he must have been surprised at how quickly Inoue was comfortable taking the fight to him. It wasn't all-out offense just yet, but Inoue, as this round wore on, you could see him starting to get a feel for Fulton's rhythm. It was by no means a dominant round, but momentum was clearly on Naoya's side. Would round 2 be any better for the champion Fulton, or would the monster continue to carve out his advantage? Well, it was clear that Inoue was starting to feel himself here, loosening up in his movement and causing some frustrated looks from Fulton and his corner. The blitzing offense of Inoue was very clearly proving difficult for Fulton to anticipate. The rhythm disruption on display was truly excellent. His opponent just couldn't react fast enough. Remember, this was a smaller fighter in Inoue, coming up and challenging a bigger champion who had a pound-for-pound level resume. So far, he was making it look easy. Inoue was fighting like he was the bigger man here, and it was very noticeably having an effect on Fulton's confidence, which was already looking surprisingly shaky for a second round. Whenever Fulton tried to get any of his own punches to land, Inoue masterfully evaded them, proving that his own defense was just as potent as his defense. Naoya's accuracy is just as much of a weapon as his punching power, and whenever he truly committed to a punch, he barely missed. Inoue's ability to explode into range and land multiple shots was something that Fulton and his team no doubt expected, but that doesn't make it any easier to stop. Fulton needed something to change, but unfortunately, the only thing that would improve in this bout was Inoue's ability to pile on the pressure. Fulton's claims about loaded gloves seemed childish now. Loaded gloves don't make you fall this far behind in a fight. Inoue was simply proving that he was the better man. Even as Fulton landed, Inoue was quick to punish him directly after, taking every ounce of Fulton's momentum and making it his own. For an undefeated fighter like Fulton, he had clearly never experienced something like this under the bright lights before. Inoue was jabbing this guy to hell, popping clean on the face whenever he had the chance. Fights in the ring are fought on many different levels and ranges, and here, Naoya was winning everywhere. Inoue was surprisingly content to invite pressure too, noting that he very clearly had several key advantages over Fulton. Inoue, in this round, began to work on Fulton's body as well, hammering the midsection, giving him more and more problems to think about. Inoue was very noticeably finding his flow, and it became clear that we were watching him putting on the greatest performance of his career to date. Considering the level of his opposition here, the fact that he was so dominant so early was pretty shocking. Fulton was less than 10 minutes into this fight, and yet he needed to change his fortunes immediately or suffer an embarrassing loss. Unfortunately for him, Inoue was about to make his life even worse from this point in the fight onwards. Fulton surely knew at this point that the hype was real on this guy. You can't fake this kind of dominance. He was getting utterly beaten in the feinting game here too, which really didn't help things. His footwork and rhythm were already getting read by his opponent. Trust us, Inoue still has a few gears left to reach, but this round 4 performance was clearly showing off his levels. The bigger shots that Inoue were going for were still falling short, but only barely. Despite him being the bigger man, Fulton was definitely not able to muscle his way through his challenge. You could tell that Naoya was ready to turn up the heat and go all out, but for now, he was content to merely intimidate Fulton whenever he could. Round 5 came, and it was clear that Inoue was winning 4 rounds to nothing. And coming into this one, he was very noticeably looking to step up the pace, seeing if he could punish Fulton's cardio as well as his body. Hit and don't get hit is a key element of every great boxer's fighting philosophy, and Inoue was executing that perfectly here. Inoue was very clearly starting to style on him now, and Fulton was beginning to resemble a punching bag more than anything else. Just in that moment, Fulton managed to land his best shot of the fight so far. Fulton was now approaching the halfway point, and it didn't seem like his chances of winning were getting any greater. Round 5 proved to be yet another largely unsuccessful round for Fulton. There was a different intensity to Inoue coming into round 6. Fulton had called his integrity as a fighter into question, which is a pretty serious thing to do to an opponent. And you could tell that Inoue wanted to show this man and the world exactly how great he is. Make no mistake, Fulton deserved to get punished for the things that he and his coach said, because when it comes to a fighter like Inoue, his reputation as a fighter means something. To his credit, Fulton did fight on, albeit in a losing effort. For a star like Fulton, getting owned like this is the type of ego killer that might forever change his career trajectory. The end of round 6 represented another round spent chasing the greatness of the monster. The question now was just how long Fulton could handle getting thoroughly outclassed like this. Inoue hadn't quite landed anything devastating just yet, but trust us, that was coming soon. Fulton's own offense was amounting to very, very little, and you could see Inoue biding his time, waiting for the right moment. But like the excellent that he is, Fulton still found his moments of success, although they would be short-lived. Inoue was really starting to sit down on his punches now, aiming to put a real hurting on his target. Inoue's confidence was starting to peak here, and he continued to walk Fulton down, determined to punish him for every lie he had spoken in the media. We're sure that Fulton respected the skills of Inoue before fighting him, but now, the gap in talent between them now was inarguable. Fights are not won and lost on body language, but you really cannot understate how dejected Fulton was starting to look, incredibly dejected out there. Unfortunately for Stephen Fulton Jr., round 8 would be the round that would spell his doom, bringing his undefeated record to an almighty halt. Fulton was already beat. He just didn't know it yet. But Inoue was mere seconds away from making his hopelessness crystal clear. And then, out of nowhere, the biggest punch of the fight by some distance, Inoue cracked Fulton clean and put him down to the canvas for the first time. To his credit, Fulton stood up from this barrage and managed to recover, but any chance of a comeback was completely gone. Naoya Inoue is called the monster for a reason, and boy, does he know how to finish an opponent when he has them stunned. Eventually, the referee knew that this was only going to end one way, and so he did the merciful thing and called this one off. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the hallmark of a truly great era-defining fighter. He took another top-level fighter deep into the fight and then finished him. Once Inoue has you hurt, you truly are in trouble. And boy, does he know how to close a show when the opportunity comes. A pound-for-pound worthy victory. But where does Naoya Inoue rank in your current pound-for-pound list? Does he make it to the #1 spot? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.